Hey everybody, Jim here, and it is a warm, sunny August afternoon, and I'm on my summer break right now from work, so I figure what better time to do some game hunting. So right now I'm on my way to the train station, and we are going to take a little ride out west. It's going to be about an hour from here, and we're going to the city of Hamura, where I actually used to live in that area. There's a couple of good places to do some game hunting, so that's what we're about to go do. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We're going to head out to Hamura, and we're going to do some game hunting, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna enjoy this lovely summer afternoon. So let's do this. Hey everybody. Okay, finally made my way to Hamura. It was about a 1 hour train ride, and I gotta say I haven't been out here in a couple of years. I don't know, I don't go this far west anymore, even though I used to live out here. But what can I say? I'm like Tokyo city scum now. But yeah, I used to live out here, and the places I'm going to today I used to go to like pretty much every weekend. Holy crap, we got some road work going on, so I think for the sake of everyone's ears I'll pack this in and pack it back out in a bit. Just sit tight. Okay, we're all clear, no more construction. But yeah, this is Hamura. I used to live in this general area when I was stationed at the Air Force Base that isn't too far from here. And yeah, pretty much every weekend I would, usually on Saturday after recovering from Friday night, I would get in my car and drive first to this hobby off that I'm about to go to, and then to the hard off that I'll be going to a little later, and I would just pick up tons of games every weekend. And anyone who's been a viewer of the channel for like a really long time, like on the off chance you've been watching for like a decade, you'll find these places very familiar. So I'm happy to be back here again. It's been a couple of years since I've even come this far, but it's good to see kind of like some familiar territory, even if it's pretty desolate right now, for obvious reasons. Not too many people out and about, but anyway, I'm gonna head on to the hobby off, and we should be in there pretty soon looking for games. And I'm ready to get inside any building at all, because it's a hot one today, folks. August, cicadas, bright sun, the whole nine. So sit tight, we will be there shortly. Okay, and here we are coming up on the hobby off, which typically hobby offs, focus, as the name implies, on hobby-related things, trading cards, action figures, things like that. But this one in particular always had plenty of games as well, and consoles. So we're gonna have a look around, hopefully find some good stuff. So let's enjoy a leisurely stroll through this hobby off. Let's do it.
GameCube スーパーマリオ最高の大冒険がゲームキューブでついに実現。これがスーパージャンプだ。空へ海へ自由自在に飛び回れ。エンターテイメントの頂点へ。任天堂ゲームキューブスーパーマリオサンシャイン。ゲームキューブ新価格19,800円。
Alright, finally getting started in this hobby off, starting with some really cool handhelds here, including that Persona Q 3DS, which when people saw the photos I shared from here on Instagram, I actually had a couple of people saying, hey, I want that 3DS, and some Neo Geo Pockets, which are always cool, but this I thought was especially awesome. Boxed PC Engine Core Graphics 2, 16,500 yen, and 7,700 for the original Core Graphics loose. So that's very reasonable. And for a high Saturn, Hitachi Saturn, 19,800 yen. And that's kind of a, I guess, a more desirable model of the Saturn. That's very cool. We have another case here with a bunch of consoles in it. This, apparently for the PS4, I had initially thought it was the Slime controller that had been released for the PS2, but I guess I was wrong. And we've got even a handful of AES games. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. KOF 94 through 96, but it's always nice to see Neo Geo. And we've got some Switch stuff here, some Amiibos and things, stuff I'm not too familiar with, and the gold Famicom Minis with all the Shonen Jump stuff, and some Famicom and Super Famicom Minis. So that's all nice. We have the console aisle here. Always fun to peruse consoles. So there's a bunch of Wii U's. I see these everywhere. They kind of just sit on a lot of these store shelves. We have N64 boxed, 5,500 yen. But it looks like there's no AV cables, but that's usually not such a big deal because you can easily find AV cables for it. 6,600 for this very nice little Dreamcast bundle with 2 controllers, VMU. So that's a good price on that. And then 4,400 for these N64 loose decks, which again, finding the power supply and AV adapters for those, not too terribly challenging. And a Dead or Alive 5, 4,400 for this Joury stick for the PS3. Okay, and we have a Neo Geo Stick 2, also for the PS3. So if you want to play Neo Geo Fighters on your PS3 with a legit Neo Geo joystick, there you go. And here we have a little bit of a money case. So we've got a lot of loose Super Famicom cards in here, good stuff, including Parodius, EDF, Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, and then even a couple of PC Engine games, Kiki Kai Kai, which is a very fun little top-down action game, and 3,300 for PC Ginjin, aka Bonk's Adventure. So I'm not going to break the bank on that one, so that's pretty nice. And over here we have some nice stuff. Rockman Mega World, aka I think Wily Wars in English. Great game, but they only had it loose. And we have some box stuff like DuckTales, Airwolf for 5,500, Calling All Jan Michael Vincents, and Gunnak and Salamander. Some good shoot 'em ups for the console, and some Rockman 6, loose copies of Salamander, Bionic Commando, Pretty cool stuff there. And then a bunch of this boxed Super Famicom. 8800 for Rockman and Forte. 6600 for Axelay, which is an amazing game. Always nice to find stuff like that boxed. Final Fight Guy, Rockman X3, Parodius, The Great Battle 4, which is a very fun platform with little SD characters. Like that a lot. Some Parodius, whichever one that is. I think there's like 3 or 4 of those. And Dragon Ball Z Hyper Dimension, which a lot of people say is the best of the 16-bit DBZ games. It just might be. It is very good. Coming up on some PS3, PS2. Didn't see too much I liked, but there is, I believe in English it was released as Blood Will Tell, and some of the KOF games like 98, Neo Wave, and the Nests Collection, which I think has like 3 or 4 games on it. So that's very cool, but this stood out to me. Gradius 3 and 4 in one single game, which I'm a huge Gradius fan. Gradius 3 is my favorite. So this was an instant pickup. Knew I wanted that right away. Whether that stays with me or not for very long is anyone's guess, but for at least for the time being, I get to test it out, quote unquote. And DS and 3DS, so, you know, most people know I'm not too familiar with handhelds. Jump Ultimate Stars, something I thought looked cool. I've never actually played this one, but I did grow up as a kid being a fan of that era of anime and manga. And I believe this is Rockman ZX. It looks like it says Advanced. So that's pretty cool. I actually have not played any of these DS or 3DS Rockman games, but they look pretty cool. And they're not so terribly expensive. Moving on to PS1, which is something I'm a little more into collecting for right now. We have this Kamen Rider Agito game. There's no shortage of Kamen Rider games on the PS1 and PS2. If you're a Kamen Rider fan, there's a lot to choose from out there. And then we have, what does it say? Parlor King? You wanna run your own pachinko parlor, do you? Well, boy, I got a game for you. You can simulate running a pachinko parlor. Every kid's dream. Who did not want to run a pachinko parlor when they were a lad or a young lass? I don't know. I didn't. Did you? Rockman 6 Complete Works. So the original 6 8-bit Rockman games were all re-released on the PS1 back in the day with some cool bonus features and things. So those are always fun to come by. And Rockman X4, one of my favorites in the entire series. I would say X and X4, Rockman 5, and Rockman 8, kind of controversially. Those are sort of some of my top Rockman games. We have some Capcom fighters here. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Capcom vs. SNK Pro. And this, interesting maybe to some people, Clayman, aka the Neverhood, which was a point-and-click PC game back home, but it got a PS1 release in Japan. And in fact, even after the second game, Skull Monkeys, there's a third game that was released in Japan only. And this, the Jigsaw Puzzle, literally a budget title where you can put together jigsaw puzzles, which is, you know, I guess understandable. Maybe you don't have a lot of room for all those puzzles in your home, you know, all those big boxes they come in. Here was kind of disappointing. Their Dreamcast and Saturn, they didn't have really much of anything of interest, just kind of disappointing. But again, this is a hobby-off, so typically hobby-offs don't have very much in the way of games at all. So I was lucky to find what I did, but yeah, that was disappointing. This, on the other hand, for the Xbox 360, little game called Phantom Breaker that you may or may not have heard of. It's a pretty fun 2D fighter that has kind of a unique combo system for a 2D fighter. Usually you don't find that gameplay style in that genre, but a good game nonetheless. As we move on to some stuff I'm quite a lot more familiar with, we got Nintendo. So we got some of our boxed N64 games, including Puyo Puyo Sun 64, which is a great game. I love Puyo Puyo in general, but Sun is probably my favorite. We got this big selection here of DBZ games, including Super Butoden 2, which, again, a lot of people regard this one as the best of these 16-bit games, just because it's fun and the character selection is nice. They're all good, but they have all of the Super Butoden games there. And more good stuff here, including Dragon Quest and Torneko no Daiboken. Just sort of a little dungeon crawler with Torneko from Dragon Quest IV. Which, again, I believe this was Japan exclusive, but it is fun. A little more of a light game in the Dragon Quest series, with a very popular character. So good stuff, for sure, as we peruse more and more boxed games, including Super Bomberman 3, which I think was all the ones after the first one are Japan exclusive. ActRaiser, this Sailor Moon S. The full title is very tiny. One of the puzzle games though, which those are fun. I prefer the beat 'em ups, but you can't go wrong with a good puzzler. And we've got some more nice stuff up here, including Choma Kaimura, aka Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Good stuff. Ranma 1/2. I believe this one is Chogi Rambuhen, which is just one of 3 of the 2D fighters. I know at least 1, maybe 2 of these were released on the SNES. I'm not exactly sure which ones, but there it is. And then Blues, Roku Denashi Blues, which is a game I've talked about in the past. It's kind of an adventure fighting game, kind of hybrid. It's got a fun little story mode in it, and it is a fighter. It's a very bare bones fighter, but it's kind of charming in its own way. As we carry on, Gradius 3 and Slam Dunk 2. Popular anime and manga series. You'd think this would be great for like an NBA Jam or something, but nope. It is more of kind of a strategy game, I guess, judging by the back of the box, and it's 990 yen, about $9. And then we have the third of the Yu Yu Hakusho games on the Super Famicom. Also a strategy game. There are actually 4 Yu Yu Hakusho games on the Super Famicom. 2 of them are strategy games, and 2 of them are fighters, and they're all pretty cool. Definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the series. We've got some more Puyo Puyo, including Super Puyo Puyo, Puyo Puyo 2, and then this one I found pretty interesting, Super Nazo Puyo, which Nazo meaning secret. I wasn't exactly sure what this one was, but there's a lot of delicious looking food on the cover. Is that beef stew or curry? What is that? Have a little beef stew with your Puyo Puyo, why not? Tales of Fantasia, I believe, which, good, I'm a fan of the Tales series. I haven't played that one, though. This one, Mobile Suit Z Gundam, this is not one of the Gundam fighters on the Super Famicom. Those are a lot of fun, but there are a lot of strategy Gundam and SD Gundam type games on the Super Famicom. So if you love Gundam, but you don't exactly like strategy games, those you could probably take a pass on. We have a limited supply of GameCube games, but kind of the essentials. We got Biohazard and Mario. There's some One Piece, Naruto. So good stuff indeed. But we have our loose Super Famicom games, which spare you the hours of digging through them all. But this game, Nangoku Shonen Papua-kun, that's a fun little platformer for the Super Famicom. That's one that doesn't come up a lot. A very nice Japanese exclusive by Enix. Fun game that I've covered in the past. Poppin' Twinbee, another fantastic game. Great shoot 'em up for the Super Famicom. With a torn label on the back, that's too bad. I believe this was recently released for the Switch though. So if you have a Switch, you can pick it up in the eStore and enjoy. Go-Go Akmon 3, which I've covered all of the Go-Go Akmon games on this channel. And they are some really fun platformers. Again, all of them released exclusively in Japan. They're definitely worth checking out. Go have a look at some Go-Go Akmon if you feel so inclined. A small selection of PC Engine games here. They didn't have too much, but some of it was pretty good. We've got Fire Pro Wrestling 2, which is super cheap. That's always a few bucks. And we have Yokai Dochuki Shadowland, which is a very fun but short little platformer by Namco that I enjoy a lot. Again, another one I've covered on the channel. A little more in-depth, so you can check that out at some point if you are so inclined. Here we have, what is this? It's Obo-chama-kun. I always forget the little guy. Yeah, it's Obo-chama-kun. No idea. I actually never played that one, but Namco, interesting cover. Can't go wrong there. Doraemon. Just one of a couple of Doraemon games released for the PC Engine, and those are usually pretty cool. And Gradius, this was the big find. for 2,000 yen. So for just under 20 bucks, my favorite version of the original Gradius for the PC Engine. And you cannot go wrong with that. And then some Neketsu Koko Dodgeball, Super Dodgeball, for those of you who are familiar with it on the NES. There's a great port for the PC Engine. So there you go. We have some cool boxed Famicom stuff down here, including Bomberman 2, which is pretty cheap. Again, a game that usually you can find it boxed and complete for like under 20 bucks. And I think its US counterpart is very expensive. So if you're thinking about switching over to imports, that's one to look for. You can save a bundle and still get the same great game, but with a very cute little Famicom box with some very nice artwork on it. As we look at all these loose Famicom games, again, I'll spare you the long period, but we have Captain Tsubasa 2, the Captain Tsubasa games, pretty cool, by Tecmo, very cinematic soccer games, not at all arcadey as you might expect. And we got some Jajamaru-kun. Those are always fun. Good stuff by Jalico. Can never have too much Jajamaru-kun, I guess. But as we look at all these Famicom games, it looks almost like a candy aisle. It's so colorful. My retinas are melting. We got some Rockman 2 and 3. Love the cover art on those. Just great stuff. Star Soldier and some Dragon Quest, Yoshi, all these good things. Rygar. Lots and lots of great games, and most of it pretty cheap. Commando, lots of the classics. But anyway, this is winding down. I picked up a shit ton of games. Oh my god, I swore, I can't believe it. Hey look, Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja. For those of you who didn't know, oh my god, I'm a bad boy. Anyway, let's get out of here. Let's go outside and take a look at what I got, maybe. I don't know if I recorded that. I'm so forgetful these days. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here. Okay, all done in the hobby off. That was nice. That was very pleasant. I got a nice big bag of games, some very cool stuff. PlayStation, PS2, Famicom, Super Famicom, PC Engine. It was, all in all, I'd say it was a success. Anyway, wow, it's starting to get a little overcast right now. Not quite as sunny as it was when I got here. Anyway, I am going to go to another hard off that's probably about a 10-15 minute walk down the street, but I think first I'm gonna get some lunch. I'm kind of hungry. Game hunting builds an appetite. Anyway, come back at some point for another game hunting video, I guess, at a different hard off location. So until then, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.